Welcome back to Unstable. It's good to be back. I know we're a little bit late. Had some weather here in Houston. Lost power. No internet. No nothing. Uh, but we're here. I think we're doing it Saturday. It should probably be uploaded tomorrow, Sunday.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, do a little housekeeping. We're still trying to hit that sub goal. Help us out. Drop a like, drop a share. Of course, head over to Chaotically Intolerant with Alex. Do the same. And the same with CPN, with the AFC South show. Go ahead and drop us up over there while you're at it. Appreciate all the support. Alex, how you been, man?
I'm good. I'm very busy. Chaotically Intolerant Table Tennis League preseason kicks off tomorrow, and the regular season kicks off next Sunday. So I am in full scramble, getting everything ready mode. It's been a long couple days. Lost some people, had some people drop. So it's been a frustrating week to say the least. But we're ready for tomorrow. Well, Sunday when this releases. So
Yeah, for sure. It'll be nice when tomorrow Sunday is football day. Definitely
yeah,
looking
that
forward
would
to
be
that.
really nice. I would love that. That's gonna be that's a very comforting thought to get me
Yeah,
through this summer.
yeah,
Definitely.
uh, it's been a rough couple days. I mean, we were talking about before we started recording. Really bad storms rolled through Houston. A couple tornadoes. I think 3 or 4 people died from the storm. So
Jeez.
if they're
Yeah.
watching, our thoughts, condolences. It's been a rough few days, and I think there'll be probably 2 or 3 weeks. They've said before some people will get their power back, so it's rough, but been getting a lot of help. As soon as I think Friday morning rolled around, they had like 4,000 people come in and start working on stuff. So they're, you know, Houston's been through stuff like this before, and we've, you know, the city's persevered and just kept marching on. So,
If I'll
but
say if they're anything like Florida, Florida gets it done like that. Like you shockingly, like if you losing power for a couple of days, I would say that's actually pretty good.
yeah,
If you get it back within a couple of days, that's pretty good turnaround time. So
yeah, we were pretty fortunate to get it back in about 24 hours. So I didn't lost a little bit, food wise, but not nothing, you know, absolutely devastating. So I was one of the fortunate ones.
yeah.
Um, I live in an apartment. There was a little bit of damage, but not to apartments, or I didn't see any cars damaged. So
Yeah.
at least where I'm at, everyone was pretty lucky. So,
Yeah. All right. Well,
but
I guess
we'll try to
yeah,
flip this. Let's
let's
get
jump
into it,
in.
man. We started a segment last week, and I think we'll kick off with it. We were doing high and lows as Colts fans, so I'll let Alex start it off with this one.
What's a high? Oh my goodness. Well, I'll say beating the Titans on Sunday Night Football, uh, 2018, Week 17, basically a playoff game. Andrew Luck undefeated in his career against the Tennessee Titans, heading into Tennessee to play the Titans again, and we beat them out for the final wild card spot, which we all remember. We went to play the Houston Texans, beat the shit out of them, and then lost to the Chiefs in the divisional round. But still, that was a great night. I remember that game got flexed. And it really made me think, wow, okay, Luck is back. He's fucking back, man. And then we know what happens after that, which is my
Yeah,
low. I'll say my low. Andrew Luck retiring. That was probably the lowest I've ever been.
hmm yeah. It's that he was. I think I've said it before, but man, he was my keeper in fantasy football that year, and I think I took Saquon Barkley as my first round pick, and I think he got injured in the first quarter. So man, that was a really rough year,
Horrible year. Yeah.
horrible year. Somehow I didn't lose in fantasy football, but I came close.
Uh-huh.
It was brutal. Let's see. I'm going to start with my low. I think I'm going to go with the 2009 Super Bowl against the Saints.
Oh, that
Specifically,
I was young, but I remember that. I remember watching that, and that was a tough one.
specifically that onside kick.
Yeah.
Fuck you, Hank Baskin. Um, like he had it, lost it in the pile, and I
Plus,
mean it was
that was the Bounty Gate Saints. So,
I think so.
what's his name? Their defensive coordinator. Before that, he was in Washington, and that was actually the reason Peyton started having neck issues. Was a game against the Redskins, I think, in like 2007. That was the start of his neck issues. Peyton took a really tough sack, and that said that I can't remember what his name was. Was it Dr. Heat? What the fuck? I gotta look this up, but this is gonna fuck with me. Where's the coaching staff? Here we go. Okay. Offensive coordinator, defense. Greg Williams, Dr. Heat. Yeah, Greg Williams. He was arguably the reason why Peyton ended up basically leaving Indianapolis because of his neck injury. So
yeah, that was. I mean, it was a great play call, a great time to do it. I mean, we all know the Super Bowl halftime show is pretty extended, and to keep
Prince
Peyton on the sideline for over.
Was that Prince? That wasn't Prince, right? Who was?
It was, but they kept Peyton on the sideline for over an hour with that, and like knowing that the Colts had the ball, Hank Baskett coughed it up in the bottom of the pile. It was like at that moment you kind of knew like it's just all the momentum shifted. Colts couldn't really get anything going after. It was that onside kick. I was just like,
Prince was 06. Prince was the one we won, but I would venture to bet it would be like Black Eyed Peas.
That would have been my bet. Like it was just awful halftime show to go with awful start to the second half.
Let's see.
I'm curious who that halftime show was now.
Teams, blah, blah, blah. I would like entertainment. Here we go. Halftime. The Who. That also makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, that was very forgettable.
Yeah, fuck The Who.
Yeah, fuck The Who. Fuck Hank Baskett. Moving on. And I'm going to go with my high. And this kind of leads into our other reoccurring segment that we're trying to do. My high is the 2006 AFC Championship game versus the Patriots. It's 38-34 Colts. Tom Brady driving, probably going to do what he always does, come back and win. No, he throws a pick and sealed the game, sent the Colts to the Super Bowl, where they, of course, ultimately beat the Bears. And that leads me right into my nominee for Colts throwback player of the week, Marlon Jackson. That game-sealing interception shut down the Patriots and sent the Colts to the playoffs. That's my dude right there.
We can't forget we were down 21-3 at one point in that game as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of the greatest AFC title game comebacks.
It was awesome. He came down with it, came down with that slide, and like game over. Fuck you, Tom.
Then we got to play arguably one of the luckiest NFC champions ever. Like that Bears team just kept finding ways to win when they should not have whatsoever. I mean, Rex Grossman, Gator really legend. Good. Defense, Devin Hester, fantastic. Also, I love when they post the Devin Hester kick return because we all know what happened at the end. One of the greatest moments in Bears history results in a loss, basically, is all you can say. So, but maybe Caleb Williams can turn it around for him.
Sure. Let's see here. So that was. But yeah, I would love to try and get in touch with Marlon Jackson, have him on the show. It's a long shot. I'm trying.
See what he's up to. Yeah.
See what he's up to, man. I followed him on Twitter to see, good dude, good. Still involved in the community. Still loves the Colts, reposting shit all the time. So it's a long shot to get him on, but I'd love to.
Yeah.
I guess with that, obviously, schedule released. What was it? The 15th?
Thursday.
Yeah. Obviously, we wanted to try and do this sooner. weather circumstances did not allow that. So we're going to talk about it now.
Yeah.
We already knew who our opponents were. We just didn't know exactly where the schedule would fall in line. Yeah, if we had a overseas game, which we doubted, it would have been pretty cool, but none.
No, thank God we don't have
Yeah,
one. Thank God.
Primetime games. Colts kind of got the short end of the stick on that one too. They're playing
I'm
the
fine with
Jets.
that, to be honest. I'm perfectly fine.
I'm in Houston, man. I only get to watch them like a couple times a year.
But
It's
you
either
know what I
Texans or
mean.
Cowboys,
Like
and nobody wants to watch the fucking
that
Cowboys.
means there's expectations on us though, and in recent history, we do not play well when it comes to expectations. Like if there are any sort of national attention on us, we crumble. I think in 2022 we had a ton of expectations under us. We had a ton of primetime games, and then we were the Matt Ryan Colts. So I'm honestly okay with that. That means there's just no expectation. We have one 4 o'clock game, one 4 o'clock game against Denver. So,
but
yeah,
inexplicably, the Jets have I think 6.
yeah.
So I hope in the
The
first
Jets
11 weeks you
are
folks
like,
like watching the Jets because
I'm so sick and tired of. I don't want to hear anything about the Jets. I mean, at least the Cowboys, they make the playoffs. Like you can make a case and say they're America's team, and they also find a way to make the playoffs. Like they're if you look at the scale of things, they're a good football team. They're just not going to win the Super Bowl. So they deserve those. I think they deserve it more than the Jets. The Jets don't make the playoffs. They haven't won a Super Bowl since since the moon landing, right? Was it 69?
some shit like that, yeah.
Something like that. I can't remember. I mean, it's been so long. The Jets are just like the definition of a poverty franchise. Like I genuinely hate the Jets so much because I would rather hear about the Texans. Like the Texans are at least like they're a young, fun team, and I can admit they're a fun team. Like they are fun.
I don't understand like the excitement behind the Jets. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, man, he tore his Achilles on like the 4th play. Like there's
He might
nothing
tear it
about
again.
the Jets. Huh?
He might tear it again.
Maybe the other one. Who knows?
Or the same one because he was rushing himself back. No, but I just don't care about the Jets. The fact that the Chiefs, the Lions, and the Ravens have less primetime games than the Jets is a travesty to the NFL.
Absurd.
Like I understand the NFL's job is like at the end of the day you're making money, but you have to be. I think you have to be a little reasonable. I mean, those teams made it to the NFC and AFC title games. They made it to championship weekend. They deserve to be shown off as those teams. You're proud of them, right? They should be the top 4. And the Niners obviously are getting the respect they deserve, but they should be the top 4.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah,
it drives me crazy.
I mean, just because I'm not like in Indianapolis, I don't get to watch all the games throughout the year because it's on local TV. So I get to watch them when they play Houston and a primetime game.
Or pirate it.
But yeah, I mean, I can't remember the name. What is the name of that app? Dofu?
Stream East.
Shout out Dofu.
Sail the high seas. Listen, the NFL charges way too much for their package anyways.
Dude,
I paid for the package.
YouTube package is crazy.
I got it because I had
as we're posting this to YouTube, I don't want to talk too much shit, but
we're fine.
Yeah, man, it's too expensive to get that. If they're not local, I've got Red Zone through my Xfinity, so it's like I'll watch scoring plays from the Colts, I guess. And yo ho ho. Let me see. But yeah, so the Colts are kicking off at home against Houston, and I love that matchup. I think it'll be a great game. It's really. I think right now the Texans are like 1.5 favorites for it. I don't know how that game could go because I think both teams could have a really good defense. I think both teams can have a really exciting offense. So that's one of those games where I'm like, man, I have no idea which way to lean to it.
The first 4 weeks of the season are not an indicator of anything, in my opinion. Like I watched the first, you watch the first 4 weeks, and you can pick out like, okay, like the Chiefs are still on their game, or you know, the well known, like the teams are already expected, but teams like us on the border, you're not going to find anything out from week 1 through 4 matchups, and that's why I'm actually glad we don't have that many division matchups. We only have one because
Yeah.
we usually start out with a lot more division matchups early in the season, and they really should be split up between the weeks, which I think this year we are. Or maybe we play
Yeah.
Jacksonville twice early.
See, I'm pulling it up right now.
Jacksonville, Tennessee. All right, we play Houston week 8, so they actually did a pretty good job of splitting it up.
Yeah.
Because normally we'll go like Houston and then like an NFC team and then Jacksonville, Tennessee or something like that. Like just to start the year. I'm like, why are we doing that? You should be playing the teams that are not in your division to start the season, because you would want the divisional matchups to be better quality games, especially with good teams. And a division like the AFC South, where you could kind of make a case for every single team that could win.
Yeah, no, I agree. They've always seemed like it's been kind of crammed in there.
Yeah.
But I honestly like our schedule. The only thing I really, really don't like, and I think San Francisco is the only team that has more of this, is facing teams coming off their bye week. I think 49ers have 4 games of teams coming off a bye. The Colts have 3. And, obviously that kind of gives the other team an advantage. A couple of weeks of rest going into the game, whereas the Colts played, 6-7 days ago. So, but that hurt, man. I mean, going as the underdog, and that's how teams separate themselves. So, I see it as more of an opportunity for the Colts to kind of make their staple on the season, and hopefully don't collapse in those 3 games. So,
I really like that we end the season at home against Jacksonville. I am so happy that we play Jacksonville at home instead of in Jacksonville, because I don't trust whatsoever. I also love the late bye week. You want to get healthy later in the year, of course. And the early bye week, you could ruin momentum. Maybe you gain at the start, or you could just lose guys late in the year. Yeah, we're December 8th. I think we're one of the latest bye weeks of the. We're actually definitely one of the latest. But I mean, it doesn't really look like we're on too long a road trips either. Like we have the longest road trip we have is a 2-gamer, I think, which again is not bad. We got a pretty good draw this year on travel, and especially we don't really have to go out to the West Coast all that much, which is really nice. We're going to be able to stay on the East Coast except for the Denver game. We're going to have to, we're going out west. So, but that's really not that bad. This is a great year. This is a great schedule for us. The more I look at it, this is really good.
Yeah, sure. I've always liked the Colts Packers game. I've always liked those. I've always enjoyed those games. It seems like they're pretty close, and of course, there was that infamous. This might be a high too, but kind of a preview for another one. But that Chuck Pagano, Chuck Strong. The Colts were complete underdogs against the Packers, and they beat them. It was Chuck Pagano's first season, and it was a hell of a game. It was a fun game, and Colts pulled it off. I remember that game very well because I have a friend that's a Packers fan, and he's very loud and outspoken about his cheesedom, and it was nice to kind of get back in his face, like,
But there is something about Green Bay, and I think it's because we're like some of the older franchises in the league. Like I love when we play the NFC North. That is like one of my favorite divisions to play. Usually we also beat them. Like I don't think really we don't have that much trouble with Green Bay, Chicago, Detroit, or Minnesota. And people point to that the big blown lead, the Christmas Eve game against Minnesota 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like to make fun of us. I'm like, we were horrible that year. I was honestly like kind of happy we lost that game.
Been in that game in the first place.
we shouldn't have been beating a team by that many points at all that year. Like there was no reason for us to win. It's like, oh, you guys blew the biggest lead of all time. I'm like, Yeah,
We also had the biggest lead of all
we won
time with a
4
terrible
games.
team.
We won 4 games that year. Are you trying to flex on me that's like some big accomplishment? I'm like, okay. I'm like, all right, whatever. Yeah, that happened. Guess what? We also gave up fucking 20 something fourth quarter points to the Dallas Cowboys like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
So, it was a bad team did something bad.
Yeah, no shit.
But we are returning to Minnesota, week 9.
My God,
last time I.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
It's bedtime, man.
Before last year's game, I remember playing Minnesota. I think it was with Phillip Rivers, and we kicked the shit out of them. We beat the shit out of Minnesota that year. That was a real. I mean, I don't know how good Minnesota was either, so I don't really know if there's any bragging rights. But yeah, definitely when I think about like the NFC North, that's my favorite division to play when we go on the rotation.
Yeah, there's some good games in there, and I do like.
I think Pittsburgh's going to be a great game. And
I like that the Colts are hosting that game too.
Well, we hosted them last year too, so I think it's a little odd that we drew them at home again, but who knows?
Let's see. Game.
We
get the Dolphins at home. And we get the Bills at home. That's nice. And
Buffalo's
the Lions
at home.
I like that some of these harder games that they are home games. I enjoyed that very much.
Detroit. I think you just said that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems like some of the more difficult games we're hosting. So
it's nice. I like how they broke up our bye week too. They broke up our bye week, where we have 2. It's 2 road games. It's a 2-game road trip, but they broke it up with the bye. So I really like that.
Yeah. That's nice.
The Giants in New York, that's going to be, I mean, we're not great in the cold, so that could be a tough one. I really hope the Giants wear those throwbacks that game. That would be a really cool one. Especially, they're definitely going to do that because it's a rematch of the greatest game ever played, the 1958 NFL Championship. The Colts won. Obviously, it was the Baltimore Colts, but I really hope they wear those.
The same franchise, man. The same franchise.
Yeah.
The only reason that the Titans, they can't say any of that because, they didn't win in Houston either. So I do like that the last 2 games, are basically to be determined, so they could kind of be flexed into a prime time if, of course, the Colts or Giants or the Jaguars and Colts are, fighting for a playoff spot. So those could be actually flexed into a more prime time game too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping the Jaguars are out of playoff contention, and that's kind of a, it's kind of a coast-in game for the Colts.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping.
Well, and I'm looking at, so they have certain flex changes, I think, for 2024. Sunday Night Football. So we could also get flex depending on what happens. I think they're going to be a little more lax on this, which means it's going to happen more often. They can flex Sunday Night Football twice between weeks 5 and 10 and at discretion during weeks 11 through 17. So like a 5 through 10, like you look at versus Miami, at Houston week 8, we could get flexed into Sunday Night Football. Or even versus Buffalo in week 10. Because obviously if there's injuries, Aaron Rodgers snaps his Achilles again, they could, flex them out of there. You never know. So you should definitely
have a feeling by November 17th the Jets won't be very competitive. I don't know, man. I didn't buy into the Aaron Rodgers hype train, and that I guess worked out for me pretty well. And
they still have the defense though. The one thing is they do still have a really good defense, and their weapons are pretty good, but I just don't know how. I mean, does Aaron still have it? Basically, I mean, he's sitting a year. He's on basically sitting a year, an entire year of football. Your ankle is not as strong. I think they beefed up the offensive line a little bit, but I don't think it's going to be. I mean, it's not. We can't rely on when have the Jets ever given you a reason to believe? Basically, why should you start now?
I'm going to say Mark Sanchez.
And even then, they made the AFC title game. Congrats. You didn't even make the fucking Super Bowl.
Oh, and that clip of Sanchez, running ass first into his lineman.
Yeah.
Face first into his lineman's ass. That's what he knocked himself unconscious. That will live in fame and infamy. One of my favorite clips of all time. And I say that because a long time ago, I used to be a server at a wing, bar and grill kind of place, and there was a huge Jets fan that was like, "You watch, Mark Sanchez will be the next big thing, the best quarterback, blah 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 blah." And right,
Young or old, it's where their careers go to die. It does not matter. That is where you go to, at least like with teams like Denver, like you can point to Denver, say like this is where old quarterbacks' careers like go to die. Even the Colts, like we are where old quarterbacks' careers go to die. And in the last 5 years.
Yeah, we were known as a quarterback retirement home. So
yeah. And I would say people still kind of think about us like that because we have Joe Flacco now.
Yeah.
We do have Flacco. So
but at least we have the other end of the spectrum when we have one of the youngest quarterbacks. So it's
there's a reason now. There's a reason why we have an old quarterback now to mentor. We can cope with that.
We can justify it. Like if Flacco was there and that's where we're running into the season, we'd be a little worried.
Yeah, I'm looking at like the end of I would say the toughest stretch is going to be week 10 through 12. That's going to be our toughest stretch of the season. I think even like 13, like I'm still not writing New England off because of their defense. That's the one thing I will not do. Because if you look at New England, like if I don't know how good of a job they did at weapons this year, but their defense was fantastic, and they set some defensive records last year, and some of them were like not records to be really proud of, but the defense should be proud of them. Like I think they had the 3-game streak where they didn't allow over 10 points, and they lost all 3 games. That is a defensive. That's pride for defense. And if they got a competent quarterback and some good weapons, that team could be right back at the top. And I mean, we don't know what Drake May is going to do. He could have a great first year. He could be a disaster, and we could be seeing Jacoby Brissett in New England by December 1st, or we could see Drake May taking over. So I think that is going to be a part of the tough stretch. So you got Buffalo, New York, Detroit, New England, and then you have your bye, and that's when we go. That is where you hit the fucking gas. You destroy Denver. You destroy Tennessee at home. You beat the shit out of the Giants, and then you go into Jacksonville, hopefully clinching a playoff spot at least, and you're probably battling.
I'm hoping it's at least clinched by the time we beat the shit out of the Giants.
Yeah.
I don't want Jacksonville to have be able to put us in an elimination game. Fuck that.
But Houston's gonna be hanging right there. They're gonna be like, you guys gotta go
I don't want to lose to Jacksonville for like Houston to get in. Like I don't want them to be the deciders in this. Like I want them to be, 7-10 or whatever, and the Colts have already at least clinched a wild card spot. Like I don't want them to be the reason again that the Colts are like, oh yeah.
I was even talking about a division clinching scenario. That's what I'm more afraid of having to play Jacksonville at home. And I would assume if it was a division clinching scenario, it would be on prime time. They would flex it onto a Saturday or the Sunday game. Yeah. Which I think the NFL is going to be kind of screwed out of the Saturday games because of the college football playoff format now. Because I learned something this week. There is an actual law in place in the U.S. government that says that during, I think up until December 8th, the NFL cannot play on Saturdays to protect the sanctity of high school and college football. They are not allowed to play on Saturdays or Fridays if it's within 75 miles of a stadium, of a college or a high school. So they can go and play internationally on a Friday. That's what they're doing in Brazil. But they can, and I think it's an antitrust rule that they came up with. But if they start playing more games, then it's going to fuck the NFL. And
you know what we need? More government.
That's what's going to happen. They're going to fuck, college football is going to fuck the NFL. we might not be able to get Saturday games at all. I mean, I love Saturday games. Saturday games are more football. It's more primetime
I
spots.
really think they should get rid of the Thursday and make it like Saturday more of a thing.
Yeah, Thursday, like the players hate Thursday. I'm okay with Thursday. The games that is the worst slot of games
Yeah,
though. At this moment. I mean, I think Monday Night Football really competes for it. I think Monday Night
yeah.
Football has a lot more history though, but Monday Night Football lately has been
Like,
atrocious.
I'm okay with Sunday night game, Monday night game. I dig it. It's that Thursday game, man. Like there's been times where a team will play Sunday night football and then they'll have to play Thursday night, and it's like players don't have enough time to recuperate. I mean, there's like no practice time to just basically do walkthroughs and shit. Like it's just,
Yeah.
and then it's typically they're playing another team that's coming off a bye or some bowl. It's just
Well, they need to do
get
it
rid of it.
where they'll come off a bye into the Thursday game. That has to be a requirement.
Yeah.
I don't understand why it's not. And even have them go from the Thursday game, well, then they get the mini bye. So anyway, either way, they should be coming off of a bye, go into the Thursday game, you get your mini bye, and then you play on Sunday the next, that very next week. So that is probably the
That's why
safest way to do
That's why I
this.
think they should be get rid of the Thursday place, like maybe a Saturday night football, Sunday, Monday, and then there isn't shit for the rest of the week. So the next time, if whatever sanctions you were talking about, at least we'd have get rid of the Thursday game. Players wouldn't bitch, and it's close enough to Sunday afternoon. Whatever. The Thursday night games have typically been dog shit. I don't know why it's still a thing. And now it's on Amazon Prime, where all you get are Prime commercials. Look at us stroking ourselves all day. It's pointless.
Yeah, it is. It is. Let's see here. What else? What's another interesting one? I mean, I already said we're going back to Minnesota, which is, that's a revenge game. They're calling it a revenge game. It is not a revenge game. I don't understand why they call it a revenge game. I'm excited I'm excited for Chicago to come back to Indy. Week 3 too, so we get 2 straight. We get a North invasion here. We get Green Bay in Green Bay, and then Chicago and Pittsburgh, both North divisions. So
I don't know how much the Bears show. I know the Packers fans travel, so
they travel. Well, we're in Green Bay. We're at Lambeau.
Oh, is it at Lambeau? Why did I think it was a home game? Shit, you're right. Well,
which I'm excited to be in Lambeau.
So let me rephrase then. For some reason, I thought it was a home game. Let me rephrase then. Colts fans, learn to travel. I mean, it's not that far up to Green Bay. It's a long way from
Chicago.
Chicago
and Indy is 2 hours, so they're going to travel well too.
Yeah, but I'm
especially week 3 of Caleb Williams. Week 3 of Caleb Williams, they're going to travel really well. Pittsburgh always travels well.
Expectations.
Miami doesn't travel well. We should fucking pack that place. Week 7. I would assume Minnesota's going to travel, or we're going to Minnesota. No wrong. Buffalo travels well. Detroit probably used to not, but they're definitely going to, especially after last year going to the NFC title game. In New England, I'm always excited for in New England, even though the last time we were in New England, it was a Sam Ehlinger-led drubbing of the Colts.
Yeah, that was rough.
And that actually got Reich fired, which good news. That was good. That was very good.
I'm not one to thank the Patriots often, but
yeah,
if it had to, it should have happened. It should have happened the last year.
Weirdly enough, I really can't remember the last time we were in Denver.
Wasn't it that like really low scoring Thursday night football game where it was all field goals?
Oh, that was in Denver. Okay, that was the last time then. I couldn't remember if that was in Indy or in Denver, but we did. Yeah. Oh, I remember that game well now. Okay.
It was a snooze fest, man. We won. I don't care.
We won in overtime because Russell Wilson literally just did not look at the open guy.
I don't think he was doing that at all that year.
That was when I knew. I was like, oh, we're not good. We're not good at all. Like, we won this fucking game, but we are not good.
That was,
And I want to say, who got hurt that game? Nyheim Hines. He had a really scary injury that game.
Yeah.
He got up stumbling and he fell like forward. I remember that was really scary. That was like kind of after the DeMar Hamlin thing. Because that was that DeMar Hamlin was 21.
I think so. No, because he was in talks with comeback player of the year. I thought DeMar Hamlin just happened like 22, because I thought he was in talks last year for comeback player. Or was it 23? Yeah, I think it happened in 22, and he came back in 23, and he was in talks for comeback player.
Oh, so that was 22.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. That was the 2022 season, January 3rd, 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
But overall, man, I like the schedule. I think it, for the most part, plays into the Colts' favor, except again, those teams coming off of bye weeks. It's bound to happen, but second most in the NFL is a little like, nah, you dicks. But
yeah, I think you're gonna draw something bad at some point, but I honestly think we have a really good schedule this year, a very favorable schedule. Where I guess because we have alternates, we have our alternate uniforms. Where are we looking to wear all of those? I would assume they're gonna wear the Indiana Knights against the Jets on Sunday Night Football.
I would hope it would be. Yeah,
I feel like that's a fair assumption. Well, although it is in New York, so if they pick their black alternates, we might be kind of fucked because they don't want to go black on black.
I would say, let's see, maybe no. They probably won't wait until the last game of the season.
You're probably going to get your throwbacks against Pittsburgh again. I would assume you get your throwbacks against Pittsburgh, unless they do it against the Giants too.
Maybe against the Lions they do.
Oh, they could do Detroit.
Maybe that or Miami.
For the throwbacks or the Indiana Knights?
For the Indiana Knights, yeah.
Indiana Knights. I could see that against Miami because we have a lot of history with Miami. They knocked us out of the playoffs in like 2000. I think 2000. And then, the old AFC East rivalries.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of where else I would put the throwbacks. Either the Giants or Pittsburgh. Why do we always wear the throwbacks against Pittsburgh? Of all teams, I don't want to see the throwbacks against Pittsburgh. Just gives me bad memories.
Let's see. It'd be nice if we had the Ravens on the schedule. That'd be good.
That would be. I honestly, because we have the NFL allows a third alternate helmet, and with our throwbacks, all we do is move the stickers to the back. There's nothing else. So I would love to see them to do another alternate, some sort of alternate. I think what it should be is the horse, the bucking horse, kicking his legs up behind him. I mean, it has to be that.
I would hope so.
And then
I feel like they should bring that back more regularly.
Yeah, I don't know what our what our uniform would look like though. Maybe maybe do the khaki. Follow the Giants. Do like a khaki pants, blue and white or something up top.
Yeah, just do like a 1-bar helmet with cloth.
Oh yeah, that'd be sick. That would be fucking sick. If Anthony Richardson trots out there, he's got 1 bar in front of him. He's got like a basically like paper thin helmet on his head.
Everyone is leaving that game with a concussion.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I like the schedule. I think it's pretty favorable.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think that's about it as far as the schedule goes. Kind of running out of time. I know we were going to go over our stat predictions for the season. Probably just push that off till the next episode. So yeah, you guys have something to look forward to next Friday.
Yeah.
We'll do stat predictions. Again, while you're here, make sure again like, share, subscribe. Help us out. We want to make many green people from history times. do the same for, of course, Alex over at Chaotically Intolerant and on the AFC South Show on the Curtis Podcast Network. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate the support. Alex, as always, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate you having you, man.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Take one out of Curtis's book. Have a good night. Be good people.